And of course, the voice you heard asking that question to Connor McDavid is none other than TSN's Edmonton Bureau Chief, Ryan Rishaug, who joins us now. Ryan, you have been covering this team for many years, including all 8 years of Connor McDavid's career to this point. Were you surprised, Ryan, by his answer to your question?
Jay, I definitely think that what we heard from Connor McDavid was different than maybe what we've heard in years past. Every year at these exit meetings, there's speculation coming from all over the place about how long McDavid's going to be in Edmonton and his commitment and all those things. He generally answers those questions fairly generically. They're tough questions to answer. But this year, just a couple of days after the toughest loss of his career, probably most disappointing, where McDavid's head went when I asked him about the future being somewhat uncertain and his desire to win with this group, his head went to what they've built so far, since the start of his career, basically from scratch, as he put it, and how much pride he takes in what's been built here in Edmonton. And, he said to see it through with this core group, that's what it's all about. So he might have felt this way all along, but for him to publicly express it the way he did today, I thought was somewhat telling. And those conversations are going to start after next season. That's when the real contract talks will begin because, we all saw what happened with Austin Matthews this year in Toronto. That's Leon Draisaitl after next season. So for now, it'll stay fairly calm, but it gets complicated after next year.
Now, there have been some speculation in recent days about Kenny Holland potentially taking a step back as Oilers GM next season. Steve Staios has been mentioned as someone the Oilers want to keep in their organization, that he could take over, and also that Bob Nicholson might be considering stepping down as team president. What can you tell us?
Jay, maybe not speculation on management to the same degree as what you're dealing with out there in Toronto, but of course it's going to be a topic of conversation. I'll say this about Ken Holland. I think it would be very unlikely for Ken Holland to take his hands off the general manager's wheel in the last year of his contract, considering the way this season ended for the Oilers. He did a 5-year deal. He had a goal in mind. He hasn't accomplished that goal yet. And I'd be surprised if he was willing to take a step back, to a lesser role and put somebody else in that position when he hasn't seen it through yet and has a year left on his deal. With that said, for sure, the organization greatly values a guy like Steve Staios and what he could potentially contribute now and in the future. It would make total sense for them to want to safeguard his employment now and in the future with the Oilers. But I'd be surprised if Ken Holland took his hands off the wheel. And as for Bob Nicholson, a brief chat with him today, it made it very clear he's not planning on going anywhere.
Interesting. Should be a very interesting offseason in oil country. Ryan Rishaug, always a pleasure. Thanks for this.